Fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in the old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to you.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Thanks for taking time out your day to come and holler at your boy. You know, I had made a recording. I was going to do a video about it, but I'll just go ahead and just play the audio on it because, you know, I've seen some things in between when I said it, when I recorded it, and now that, you know, it'll be a good timestamp on the video, but what better timestamp would it be than for me to have it here on the live? You know what I'm saying? Thanks for my new subscribers, man. You know, when you rocking with your boy, you gotta love boxing, man. You really gotta love this boxing stuff, man. You gotta really be able to have a level of discernment, man. You can't have on your rose-colored goggles, man. We do body work over here, man. We take liver shots over here, man. Bread basket shots. Arm shots. You know, you gonna protect them ribs over here. We have a level head. We use reasoning. We have colorful dialogue. We definitely don't always agree, but we get it done. We don't take things for face value over here. We do that body work. And it's just a lot of things going on, man, but I see the people are waking up, you know, and I'm gonna come on in a second. I just want to do the audio part first, you know. For those who might be new, I just want to do the audio first real quick, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna come on out and I'm gonna put the link out. You can get it off your chest. If you got smoke, I want all the smoke. I want chimney smoke. I want cigarette smoke. I want hookah smoke. I want, you know, I want all the smoke. You might want to have smoke. I don't know. We remain respectful, man. You can get it off your chest. You can say what you want. You can speak your mind, man. You don't have to appease or cater to any audience, man. You got to keep it a buck on every fighter, man. And if you one of them people that think that your fighter don't have any flaws whatsoever, inside or outside the ring, if you one of them people that just shit on boxers every day, all day, this ain't the channel for you, cuz. Just like that. But with no further ado, I'm gonna play this little clip that I had from yesterday. I was gonna do an audio and show the visual behind it, but since I'm gonna be in living color in a couple of minutes after this is done, you know, I'm just gonna play this. I'm gonna let this rock out, and I want you to listen, man, because people are waking up. I've been on it, man. It's a lonely street. When you're not riding on coattails, when you won't put on knee pads, when you don't own no throat coat, when you don't got no tonsil jewelry in, when you don't own a set of pom-poms, these YouTube streets can be very cold, man. There's no agendas over here, man. No agendas over here. We just love that boxing. We love the X's and O's, and the way we look at boxing, we look at it from inside out, meaning that we look at these boxers, we grew to love these boxers inside the ring first, and we work our way outside. Then we start looking at the camps. Then we start looking at the corners. Then we start looking at affiliations. And then we might look at what you're doing outside in the streets, especially if you're giving back. Especially if you're giving back. If you plugging in and you getting the amateurs right, and you sowing seeds in your community, oh yeah, we looking at you. You happen to make a mistake, hey, you know, we might speak on it, but we're gonna do it respectfully because we know you young and we know you get hit in the head for a living. That's this channel. That's how we do it. We can talk about anything at any time, you know what I'm saying? And we know how to do it. But let me play this clip. Let's see, I had to take it off my Bodywork Boxing. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. You know, I've been telling everybody for a while now that silence is consent. What you mean, Mike? The HDBC is on high alert, man. I see so many people waking up and speaking out about all the BS that they do, you know, all the contradictions. And for some reason, yeah, I'm talking about the HDBC, the Hippos Den boxing community. It's supposed to be a lion, but it's really a hippo because they so hypocritical. Hence, HDBC. But so many people are actually waking up and speaking out, right? Because it's almost like a big ass fraternity. And you know, when you watch boxing and you want, you know, you're consumed by it, and in your downtime, you know, you just want to hear about it. It's only a certain amount of channels you can go to with regularity that puts it out. And it's like, okay, you're there. You're not there to agree with everything, you know, but you're really there to support. So most people start off by going in, supporting and all that. They might hear one or two things that they don't really agree with, but overall, you know, they doing what I normally do, which is the 80-20 rule. For the most part, I agree with 80%. With any logical boxer here, unless I know it's just straight up hate or some straight up bullshit or somebody don't know what they talking about, or you can see a clear cut agenda, I'm rocking with you about 80-20. It's just like life. Most shit I'm with 80-20, and it's the 20% that's just so bad that it's like, nah, I can't do it. But people are waking up and speaking out, man. I said it's only a matter of time before these people start getting exposed, you know. And I don't need any credit for it, but I know I was one of the first people actually saying, you know, was Purple Veins gonna be held accountable, you know, for his action. Oh, no, you just hating. You just hating, man. You always just, you know, you got a problem. No, I'm not. I was trying to tell everybody that truth is the new hate. If you tell the truth, people are going to be like, oh, man, you're hating. I'm going to give you an example. I seen a whole video here recently about how, you know, everybody's devaluing Lomachenko on the pound for pound. And they doing this to big up Devin. They doing this to put Devin up on this pedestal. You know, that's so great. He the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm one of the ones that stays consistent. I said, look, man, when it comes to Devin Haney, his father, he's a father, a trainer, a promoter, he has 3 different hats. So under the guise of promoter, you have the right to criticize him as a promoter. You really can't criticize him as a father. You know, you maybe even can, you know, criticize him as a trainer. You know, because those are the professional hats, and you criticize any other promoter or trainer, but they say things that make Devin look like he's invincible when the resume don't show. And I was saying, see, it's a slippery slope when everybody on the opposing end of Devin gets discredited. And what's ironic is, how are you going to sit up here and complain about Lomachenko value dropping and his stock dropping when you all forged the path for it? You all were the impetus as to why Lomachenko got discredited. You all are. Because when I was saying, a couple months ago, when I was saying Devin is Bob's new bud, and that he needs to go ahead and fight Lomachenko, stop acting like it wasn't a rematch. No, it's not. He's a boss. He can do whatever he wants. He don't got to fight Lomachenko. F Lomachenko. He ain't did nothing. He ducked and all these lies. You know, because, you know, in all honesty, right, Devin out of his own mouth said unifications trump mandatories all day. And he wasn't even Lomachenko's mandatory. He was next in line, but it was never mandated. If it was ever mandated, then the fight would have had to happen. And I told y'all they do this. They discount somebody, right? They discount somebody on the opposing end of Devin. And then they turn around and say, oh, man, but he don't get no credit for that, right? Then they name all these other fights and fighters who actually got credit for beating some people that they should have beaten anyway. And let's be real, the only reason why Devin is getting ready to fight Loma is because he sees food right now. This could be a cherry pick going wrong. Because back when I was saying he needed to do it, his fans, the Devin only fans, were saying that he didn't. Now you got this issue with Purple Veins. And now you got people that's a part of that organization. Because I was saying, man, is this organization going to have any accountability? Are they going to check their brother? Are they going to do anything in-house to say, hey, man, you're not right about this? Because what's so ironic is Purple Veins is defending Terrence Crawford, right? They are attacking Terrence Crawford, right? But then they are protecting Purple Veins, who's protecting Terrence Crawford. I can't make it up. So while you might be enamored by charisma and the fact that they got laughs and the consistency of the content, nobody's perfect in this game. And the hypocrisy is really starting to show. You start having people being more vocal about it, saying, oh man, it was all good when I was super chatting you and agreeing with everything I say, but when I pull your coattail and say, hey man, that ain't right and exact, now all of a sudden I'm a hater. Eureka! Anyways, man, thanks for my new subscribers, man. I appreciate y'all. You know, I've been subscribing to a lot of people who think a lot alike, like me. You know what I'm saying? We all are critical thinkers. You know, some people are willing to say things that others aren't. And I'm willing to say that silence is consent. If you say nothing, you agree. Anyway, that's it. That's all, man. I appreciate all the feedback. Thanks for the growth. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day, a beautiful Boxing Day, you know, getting ready for the holidays and the downtime. And, you know, look for more content from your boy here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work. So that was the clip. That was the clip, y'all. You know, I had the visuals behind and I was going to take the time and all that. But I said, you know what? I might as well post it live. I might as well get it out there in the ethos, you know what I'm saying? And I might as well speak on it. Now, what actually spawned that is, I was watching, you know, I watch a lot of channels, you know what I'm saying? Channels, you know, I have my fair share of criticisms. You know, just like boxers in the boxing game, they can judge their peers. Whether their peers are, you know, levels above them or not, you know, since they put on, you know, the gloves and they lace them up, when they're talking about their peers, it's okay. So in this content creating space, if you talk about your peers, if you have your fair share of criticisms, it's okay. Because if you can donate your money, if you can super chat, if you can tell them, oh man, I enjoyed your show, you got me through the day, you should be able to say, hey man, hold on now, last week you said X, Y, and Z. So I'm watching the show, right? And somebody says that, you know, because there was a lot of talks about Devin when he was, you know, at the weigh-in with Cambosis, and people were saying that, you know, his face looked sunken in. His face looked sunken in, right? And they was like, yeah, a lot of people have criticism. Since when is that a criticism? Since when is that a criticism? If you see somebody weigh in, because that's why everybody watch the weigh-ins. As a man, as a heterosexual man, no, I don't watch the weigh-ins to see, you know, nothing, you know, that I shouldn't be looking to see. I look at weigh-ins to see the shape of the fighter, like to see, okay, well, yeah, that's always a clue. How you look, that's always a clue. There's a lot of people that come in, but that's not a criticism. This is what I'm talking about. When you start talking about the truth, when you start speaking truth and fact, and you start hitting things head on, it's deemed as hate. It's not hate. If you can point that out, that's not a criticism. The only way you'll be criticized by that is if the way you perform after that. And we've seen where people have been face sunken in or looking like, man, dang, they look like they suck dry or whatever, or dry on the scales, right? That's not a criticism. We've seen it to where, in Devin's case, he went out there and performed. He handled his business. Had he not handled his business, that would have been something that people would have pointed their fingers to, saying, hey, man, he did look dry. We do it all the time. When Kell Brook, we were saying that when Kell Brook, how come it wasn't, when Kell Brook got on the scale against Bud, how come that wasn't deemed as criticism? Because he looked sucked down. It was just an assessment of how he looked. It's not hate. So, in that same conversation, these people were actually talking about Teofimo, and I said, dang, man. Mind you, Teofimo, regardless, I call it the ugly dub. Teofimo Lopez got an ugly dub. It was ugly. However, the referee deemed it as a win. Just like when Canelo and Lara fought. Remember that? When people were saying, oh man, Lara really won that fight. Well, Canelo actually got the dub, but we know Lara won the fight. In this case, Teo was awarded the win. I went over the numbers. By the numbers, punches landed, punches thrown, and the fact that the referee didn't count the knockdown, Teo won. But I'm like, here we go. We're discrediting Teo, who actually came off of a victory and already made the leap from 135 to 140. And when people say that this other boxer looked dry on the scales, that was deemed as criticism. This is what I'm saying. Like, so it depends on what fighter you rock with, the light that you perceive them in. If you have on your rose-colored glasses, that's what matters in today's day and time. It matters if you get on social media and say, man, I'll F you up. That matters more than you actually sending a contract and being able to land the deal to get a fight. And my man, he always talk about this era. He said, man, maybe I'm just a grumpy old man and I'm used to the old way. I'm not used to this social media. It's like, well, you know, one thing about survival is you got to be able to adapt to the times. And I be telling people that's like, I'm 42, just turned 42 this week. Just turned 42 2 days ago. Well, a couple of days, on the 20th, I turned 42, right? And I'll be saying that people that's like around my parents' age, right? They actually have to start learning and coming to grasp and gripping onto this technology, especially if they got someone like my age or somebody around them that can actually tell them how to do this from a phone. Why? Because if you don't adapt to technology, you're gonna become a dinosaur, or you're gonna be a slave to whoever knows how to do it. You could be ripped off. If you don't know how to use your phone, you get a new phone, you got personal information on there, you give it to somebody, say, oh, can you show me this? They can take your stuff, they can transfer money, they can do whatever they want. So you have to evolve and adapt. Well, We come to a stage where the social media clout chase, the social media call out, the social media, oh, I thought you was going to spin the block. That's really worth more than you having a contract in your possession. That's more. That's worth more, according to YouTube. Not to me. Not to me. Not to me. And I would deem the other 379 of y'all, whoever, you know, salute to y'all, the kidneys. Salute to the kidneys, man. Whoever is subscribed is because you actually like boxing. You like the X's and O's. You can be fair and impartial. You can act like you was young before. You can act like you've been in fights before. Which leads me to my other trend that's going on. So the social media call out holds more gravity than sending somebody a contract in today's day and time. Getting in the ring and saying somebody's name, calling somebody out in that manner, that don't mean anything. But if you say it on social media, y'all get where I'm going. You get me. So that was the first trend. The other trend now, this is a trend, and I have to bring this up. And to my surprise, I heard it earlier today come from a boxer. In the sport of boxing, right, as a content creator, it's okay when I'm making videos highlighting, you know, you jabbing the shit out of somebody, or you stopping, or you dropping somebody, or I'm showing your footwork and your head movement and, you know, your fundamental skills as a warrior. It's okay when I'm doing that. It's okay. But when I say, oh man, this move is suspect, now I'm a hater. And this is I heard it as early as this morning. And you always know when you actually hit that, you know what I'm saying? You know when you hit that spot, that little weak spot, you always know when you hit that little weak spot. You know how? You'll hear this. Well, that's coming from somebody that ain't never laced up a pair of gloves. That's coming from somebody that ain't never. So now when you don't like the criticism that somebody got to say, oh, you never laced them up. Some of y'all don't even know how to make a sandwich right, but you criticize the guy at McDonald's. Some of y'all can't even fix potato salad, but you criticize the other people that, oh, you see where I'm going with this? So then you become a crab. You become a crab in the barrel because you want to state the truth. You become a crab in the barrel when you point out the fact that all some of these people do is just on these boxers all day, every day, depending on what the topic is, depending on what they want to drive home with the conversation. That's all they do all day, every day. They pick a target. I told you, it's like church. It's like church. You're going to get up, you're going to have their sermon, and it's always going to be a devil. Because what they say is different devils for different. Yeah, if you filled in the blank, you know what I'm talking about. So they're going to pick a different devil. So one day it might be Tank in the crosshairs. One day it might be Coach Calvin in the crosshairs. One day it might be Andre. One day it might be Jamal Charlo. But when you talk about their favorite fighter, you hit that soft spot. Oh man, you ain't never fought. You ain't never laced them up. You ain't never, man, shut that dumbass shit up. That makes absolutely no sense. But the standards are changing. Yes. And I'm gonna tell y'all this, right? You gotta be leery. See, if I want to actually collab with you, if I want to get down with you, that means I know you got some integrity. That means that I want, you know what I'm saying? You think like me. We can actually talk about, we can cover some ground. We can figure some things out. We can have a real good conversation about this boxing talk. If I want to work with you. If I want to work with you. That's how I see it. But you gotta watch out. I was trying to tell one of my favorite people, my favorite set of people. I was trying to say, man, y'all might want to be careful, man. Y'all, you know, who am I? It would look like I'm trying to hold you back or trying to stop your growth. Who am I? I say, hey, man, you might want to watch out for this guy. You might want to watch out for that guy. You might not want to let them. Hey, who am I? I'm not asking to be up there. I don't want to. I was saying, hey, and now it's coming out now. What the real deal is with Purple Veins. And in real time. I always say this, man. I had a video, man. I don't know how many views that thing would have had right now. But I did 2 big videos. 3,000 and 5,000 views each. I took them down. Why? I didn't want that energy because it felt like I was coming at them. But people was watching, and it was nothing but the truth. But now, because just like life, right? You perpetuate a crime, you don't get caught, nobody say nothing. What you gonna do? You're gonna keep perpetuating the crime. Well, guess what? It's done caught up now. People are hip to it now. People are calling out the BS now. And it's a bunch of flip-flops. So you'll have people that'll gravitate, you'll have people that'll come over, they'll steal talking points, they'll steal ideas, they'll learn how to do this, how to do that, they'll take it, they'll use it, they give you no credit for it. They even invite you over on the platform, they invite you to speak, they'll ask you to talk, they'll never say, hey, go subscribe to my man such and such, who I've been pilfering from, who I've been robbing from. They'll never do that. Why? Because it'll be exposure. But it's a big ass organization. See, everybody wants to be affiliated with these name brands. It's just like everybody want to be seen with a Birkin bag. You know, a Hermes or whatever the trend is, Gucci belt or whatever. These name brand channels, just because it's name brand, just because it's a whole bunch of people that's watching, that don't mean that they keep everything right and exact. And I was asking, are y'all gonna check your brother? He out of line, he out of pocket. I thought that it was counterproductive, because if you wanted to see the body snatcher versus the boogeyman, if you wanted to see it, right? Why would you support somebody that would aid the boogeyman from actually making the fight with the body snatcher? Why would you do that? So in hindsight, when you figure out all the lies that has occurred, when all the truth is being exposed, when they peeling back the layers of that onion, right? And everybody getting on them, we got people jumping out to protect that guy who had been lying. And I'm like, well, ain't that counterproductive to protect the guy that's protecting the guy that sabotaged one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight in this era that can be made right now? And I think it's on the backside. You got the leeward side and the windward side. I think it's on the backside of that mountain. People are losing luster. I don't even talk about it. It got to where I had to die down from talking about some of my top guys, because that's all everybody else do. They just talk about those top guys. Good, bad, and different. They just gonna talk about those top guys. If something ever happened to those guys, guess what? They're gonna pick another person to either shit on or big up. And I'm starting to see it already, man. I was talking about my prospect. Let's get into the 40s now. Because unless somebody else hop in, you know what I'm saying, got some smoke, you know what I'm saying, want to know something, got something they want to get off their chest, want to speak their boxing mind, then I'm going to go ahead and get into the oldies, the of the year. Speaking of Jared Anderson, I'm starting to see a big rush, a big wave to kind of push up against this young man. Why? Because they feel like they got to be loyal to another heavyweight. Don't ask me. It's a term. I came out with it. It's called boxing monogamous. There's a lot of fans that push that you got to be boxing monogamous. You can't like Tank and Shakur. You can't like Shakur and Tank. You can't like Devin and Tank. Right? They say you can't. You got to draw a hard line in the sand. So what they do is everything that's on the opposing end, they're going to shit on it. Me, I want to draw the line when they actually get in the ring, because they all pretty much all are alike. Some of them are generational talent, like Tank, like Shakur, like Boots, like Jared Anderson. And I'm starting to see this big push up against Jared Anderson because people want to be boxing monogamous. They want to come up, they want to put roadblocks up, they want to divert attention away, they want to give exception to certain people and certain things. And it's like, man, come on, man. The lifeblood of boxing is every day a boxer retires, and every day a boxer goes from amateur to pro. It's just like the circle of life. Every day somebody dies and a baby is born. Scarface said it the best. But what we going to do? We not going to admit that Jared is an up-and-coming talent? We're not gonna give him the same benefit of the doubt that we see with Boots when we say, oh man, the skill set jumps off the page. So it's okay for Boots to pass the eye test. Oh man, from the looks of things, you know. But then somebody like Inouye gets no credit. 3 divisions, just because he's a little guy, gets no credit for going up 3 divisions, getting undisputed. No credit. That's why I said belts don't really matter. Opinions do. And that's an unpopular opinion. Belts don't matter, man. If belts matter, I'm gonna say this again. If belts matter, Jermell Charlo would be getting hundreds of videos a day, thousands of videos a month. If belts matter. If belts matter. But they don't. Instead, we always get 1,000 videos about the undisputed champion 135. No videos about Inouye, about, you know, beating Paul Butler. No interviews, no hot takes, none of that. So belts only matter. We that's part of the conversation. When you say, oh man, them belts don't really matter. Belts matter in certain divisions. And you know why? In the proof in it, everybody wants to fight Jermell Charlo. Did you hear me? Everybody wants to fight Jermell Charlo. Why? He was a stone collector. He had to go and pick up a belt there. Go over here and pick up a belt there. He lost a point where he lost to get this belt, but he came back to the table, stopped the guy. He came up, had a controversial decision right here, had a draw, came back, stopped the guy. He became Thanos. He always spoke his mind. He went through the black YouTube boxing community boycotting him right before Undisputed. Yeah, I was around. They was boycotting him because of his comments on another boxer, one of his peers. He was boycotted. Now everybody getting back on the hype. Everybody getting back on the train. Everybody's getting back on the train. But guess what? We don't see all them videos. Guess when we see a video? When somebody else says his name, like Bud. You know, one of these other guys that want to be a challenger, when they say his name and they have to get a reaction, that's the only time we see video. But if belts really mattered, we wouldn't be arguing as to why Jermell Charlo should be number 1 or number 2 on the pound for pound list. We wouldn't be arguing. We wouldn't have had to argue as to why Canelo Alvarez should still be number 1 after losing. In the same conversations in which we were arguing that Jermell Charlo should be even on the list. It's not about the skills no more. It's about popularity. Whether Canelo should still be on the list, that's debatable. Can you find 10 other people better? I believe that's debatable. Because think about it. If Inouye don't get no credit for going up 3 divisions just now and becoming undisputed in his 3rd division, beating a legend in Nonito Donaire, like stopping him. If he don't get no credit, but then Canelo, he go down and fight in a trilogy and he don't stop him. Devin go back on a rubber match where, you know, he basically out jabbed Kambosos. He don't stop him. People have them two solidified on the top 10 pound for pound list. And we still argue whether or not Jermell Charlo should be on the list. Make it make sense. It don't make any. It don't make any. It's just like we having conversations right now. Because I remember when Caleb Plant had his 1 belt. He had his 1 belt. Everybody was on his neck. He wanted 10 million. They go, oh man, you ain't worth. Who was he fought? Who was he? All this other. He had a belt. They was on his neck. Ginger walked away from the table. Ginger walked away from the table and then came back. Caleb didn't panic. He talked his noise. They got in, they did their thing. The results was the results, but he came on in. He came on in. Paul Butler, he had just won that belt back in like April or May. He just won the belt. December, we just got the Inouye fight. Undisputed, easy peasy. He came on in. When Castano went up against Teixeira, months later, he came on in with Jermell Charlo having the rest of the belt. They fought. They had to go back to the drawing table because of the draw. They fought again. But here we have Errol Spence. We got Errol Spence with 3 of them belts. And I hear more talk about him ducking, him not wanting to fight. When you get in the ring, because that's etiquette, you get in the ring, you say who you want next, you send a contract, they leave. And now we giving the bigger bag excuse. We giving the bigger bag. He did it for a bigger bag. Okay, that's a slippery slope too. It's a trend. It's a trend. That's the same excuse that Canelo did when they offered him Benavidez and Charlo, or Benavidez and Maul, or Errol Spence. That big deal. And he was like, nah, went back to the zone and got the Bivol Triple G. Because he thought Bivol was a cherry pick. Whole nother story. But that bigger bag was the excuse then, because they had to sweeten the deal with a third fight to make that number bigger than what PBC was pretty much giving him to fight Benavidez and Maul. Think about it. That was the excuse that was used. That was the trend that was set. So Bud, he in this situation, I want a bigger bag. We give him that excuse. Now, guess what? Ramirez is saying he needs a bigger bag to fight Regis Prograis. Him and Zepeda was supposed to fight, but he had the wedding. I understand, life happens. You're a boxer, of course. Get it on with your love. But you were supposed to fight Zepeda. That didn't happen. So then it moved to where Regis got the belt. They giving you opportunity, and you saying, I need a bigger bag. Who am I to say about the bag you need? But it's a slippery slope when we start giving that excuse of the bigger bag. Where does it stop? Then we got a whole bunch of funny moves, man. We got a bunch of funny moves right now. Because right now, as early as today, when I was saying, people were saying, oh, man, because they still complaining, which I don't understand. People are still complaining about Lomachenko making Devin Haney wait, and they don't got a deal sealed and all this other stuff, and he want to do it before Ramadan, and they want him to do it after Ramadan. I don't know how Lomachenko, nobody has yet to answer this. I don't know how Lomachenko has the undisputed champion with all this power, all these boss moves. I don't know how he has him on pause. It should be the other way around. And I'm saying, well, Shakur is right there. You know what they say? Oh, he just moved up. How would they? But there are people that have both Devin and Shakur on the pound for pound right now. We're talking about contradictions. So if you raise your hand if you one of them people that got Shakur and Devin on the pound for pound. If you got Shakur and Devin on the pound for pound right now, why can't they fight right now? Like, I don't understand. They in the same weight class, on the same side of the street. And people, and look, listen, the caveat is people are knocking Tank for beating a champion that's going from 30 to 35, who's bigger than him. Did y'all catch what I was saying? Shakur and Devin can fight right now. They're pound for pound. People have them, both of them, on their pound for pound. It was said, let's just say it was said. I don't know why people would talk about that, because there's clearly no energy for that fight. Could you imagine if Devin Haney, was already with the PBC and Tank was with, let's say Tank was with the Zone, and Tank came over there and Devin Haney was in the same division. Let's just say he just fought at 30. He was moving up to 135. He's on the pound for pound. Mind you, people don't have, it's a lot of people that don't, I don't know how, but people don't have Tank on the pound for pound list. Imagine if Tank went over to PBC. And for that window, that time, all this buildup, all this talk, they was in the same weight class on the same side of the street. How many videos would we get about that? Oh, I'm a hater for putting that out now. We know the energy would be different. We know the energy would be different. it ain't no energy for that fight right now. We got good news, man. We got Caleb Plant and David Benavidez finally getting ready to get it on, man. I seen David Benavidez, man. David Benavidez is putting in some sweat equity, man. I'm hard on David Benavidez. When it comes to David Benavidez, I'm from Missouri, the show me state. I'm about ready. Because all the credence of being the Mexican monster, good, an imposing, I guess, intimidating opponent, yeah, but like my man be saying, man, Caleb with the faster feet, it's arguable who has the faster hands. You might be able to say that maybe David is more active. His output is a lot higher, maybe. But your output could be as high as you want. But if somebody's not there to be hit, and mind you, I had Caleb Plant winning up until, the infamous stoppage. When the Mafia might have been outside, saying, hey, man, you win this fight. You know what I'm saying? We know your name, Plant. We going, maybe. Bing. They getting ready to get it on. Right? And David Benavidez is actually saying that he's going to knock Caleb Plant out. Now, I gave Caleb Plant in my oldies, I gave him the knockout of the year. I was saying that on the championship round. I gave him the knockout of the year because if there was going to be a knockout, I think people were thinking that it was going to come from the dog. I don't think that people expected the Caleb Plant in the way he did it. He did it with a body head, which was timing, which was movement. It was one lapse in defensive responsibility, a matter of having your hands up here to having your hands down here that got the dog put down. I believe that, man, I think this might be a big upset based on the fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting to see the money line on it. I'm waiting to see the odds on it, the overs, unders, all that. But, man, I think if there's money to be made, man, I mean, I would, just me, I'm on record saying that I think Plant, man, I don't think this fight gonna look anything like what everybody think it is. I really don't. But I see David training. I don't know if he be hearing what I be saying as far as, the technique and all that. But if he is, man, if he gets his technique better, and because he said if he want to box, he said if Caleb want to box, they can box. If he want to bang, I know he down to bang because he used to people doing that. He used to being able to put that pressure on him with a high output, and the opponent always find himself up off the rope. But when the opponent is not there to be hit, and makes you move around and frustrate you because you're gonna hear, oh man, he's gonna run. He's gonna run. So this is the built-in excuse already. He's gonna run. He's gonna run. It's like when T.O. was saying, oh man, Sandor Martin was running. I wouldn't say that Sandor Martin ran. I just think that he didn't want to engage. It's a difference. But you hear that he's gonna run. They use that on Shakur. But even though Shakur is dispelling that myth because, like he said, he pointed out, if you watch Shakur, he's actually been standing in the pocket. He's been standing right in front of people. He will use his legs if he needs to. But I think this fight is going to take on a whole different complexion. I think that the results of this fight is going to be totally different. Totally different when it comes down to Plant and Benavidez. And thank you for the boxing, guys. This has been going on for a while now, and the jaw jack and the what ifs, now he actually get the, we actually get to see, who gonna stand on it, who gonna stand on what they said they was gonna stand on, right? Just like your man Purple Veins, man. When they say stand on your square, you gotta think about it, man. When they say I'm gonna stand on my square, man, I don't know if y'all realize what that actually means. But if you think about a chess piece, you got pawns, you got rooks, you got bishops, you got a queen, you got a king. If you stand on your square, I can't get y'all that game, but when people say I'm standing on my square, you gotta think about, Think about the chessboard. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Stanionis and Virgil. Hadn't heard any bad news so far about it. That's in the, that's in the making. Virgil is one of my guys. I actually like Stanionis, and as of right now, man, I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards Stanionis. Because, what he did to, that wasn't Akhmadaliev. Was that Akhmadaliev or whatever his name is? What he did to that guy in Minnesota, that fight that took place in Minnesota, it showed me a lot. But I've been seeing the style and the principles and the way that, a lot of the things that Earl do. I ain't talking about the technique and all that, but I'm talking about that, body work, smart pressure, that jab, that crate, man, the oblivious jab, man. That thing is hard. That jab is, what I'm saying? That jab is a stiff jab out there. You know what I'm saying? He putting that stick out there. So I heard somebody commenting on that, and they was like, man, if he just did that more and committed to the body, it could have been a short night for that guy. And I think he learned something on film. But Virgil I got him as the Piranha. He's in my Boxers to Watch collection. He's pretty much, I think he stopped every one of his opponents. But Virgil, committed body puncher. He definitely swings for the fences. I just think that sometimes Virgil miss, and he'll miss bad. And I think that he can be countered. But I know that Stanionis is a tough cookie, and you can't go in there. You got to have technique to get in there. And if you're on the inside, where you might have the most potential of doing the most damage, you're also at your most vulnerable. And when you got you got two committed body punchers, man, it's just going to depend on accuracy, man. And that's what I think. That's what separates a lot of these boxers. Like a guy like Tank, I don't think that he gets nearly as much credit. His output might not be that much, but his accuracy is everything. He's one of the most accurate boxers. He might not have that high output, but when he don't waste his punches. And we already know about the power. So I think that a lot of times when it comes down to skills in two boxers, if all things are even, pretty much, as far as, let's just say power is even, consistency with a jab is even, changing levels, going upstairs, downstairs is even, a difference maker is accuracy. Why? Because somebody's actually, whether it's, full force, half force, if it's a throwaway punch or whatever, it's being counted as an attempt to hit a target. If you can hit your target more than the other person, especially when you get outside of the jab, the power punches actually show and tell a number. That's why you can kind of look at a fight and then go back and look at the numbers and be like, yeah, that's pretty much what my eyes saw. Or if you be like, man, I wonder how they came to that conclusion. You can go look at the numbers. If you've seen the fight, because I don't score fights off of judging after watching highlights. If you see a fight and then you go look up the numbers, your eyes and the numbers actually always line up, and it'll be a good testament to see how well you're actually scoring these fights. And that way, because sometimes when the fight be over, I have the exact same score as one of the judges. The exact same score. I look and see if I'm off at the halfway mark as to what they got. Sometimes I'm like, man, I don't know what fight they watching. But then by the end, they'll get it right. That's just another way. But I often see that accuracy, your ability to, whatever output it is, it could be a lot lower than your opponent, but if you're more accurate, it's going to show up in the numbers. And if you have good technique and, you're weathering the storm, that means they're missing, you're hitting, and anything outside the jab is a power punch, which if you get up around between 40 to 44%, that lends the viewer to be able to believe that it was total domination. If you actually come across those numbers. So that's what I think about that fight. Those are my initial thoughts. I would like to see the camp. I want to get closer to that fight before I dive in it. My comeback fighter of the year was Regis. He took the stairs. He took the long way around. He played the game. I know he had to go through a red catch, and he had a couple, little skirmishes, with some of these little guys, that wasn't the kind of people that he wanted, but he took the stairs. He stayed diligent. He didn't give up. He didn't, fall into the temptation of, the woe is me. He didn't play victim. He got and stayed back in the lab. He kept training. I was watching him on Instagram. He was getting his training in. He was being a consummate professional. He was talking his trash. He promoted himself, and he got in the ring and handled his business. So I salute him for actually, coming back. On the female side, I would say it was Senicia Estrada. She had took a year off. I think that they wasn't trying to give her the bag, and for her level of skill that she brings on my box, she's in my boxes, just like Regis. Regis in my boxes to watch collection. Senicia Estrada is in my boxes to watch collection as well. I call her the Hornet, and I call Regis Prograde the Crippler. Virgil Ortiz is the Piranha. Tank, the Predator. I got Shakur, the Definition. All of these guys are in my boxes to watch collection. All of these boxers, male and female, are in my boxes to watch collection. So let's see. We got the Stanionis. Oh, Senicia Estrada. Because of her level of expertise, I think it was a slight that she didn't really get what she wanted. I think, and I never count another man's numbers, aka women's numbers, when it comes to this box. I don't try to focus on all that. I just think that, whatever happened, her landing, where she landed at now, and, her getting back in the ring and looking as good as she looked, I was impressed. She's in my intro, man. That little lady can throw some hands. Between her and AB, I had AB as my female champion of the year. Even though Clarissa, went ahead and got her third undisputed, this was actually a test of AB crossing the threshold with that win. She actually showed that, hey, not only did I talk my stuff, I trained. She did it with Tony Harrison. So she had to get, new tutelage and all that. And she showed that she's the real deal. So she crossed over. So it's almost like in the Army, it would be like, yeah, it's a big deal. It is a bigger deal from somebody to go from lieutenant to captain, right? AKA Clarissa Shields, than it is for somebody to go from a specialist to a sergeant. The significance of that's what AB did, specialist to sergeant, because it's a crossover. You know what I'm saying? Like specialist and down, subordinate. Sergeant and above is leadership. She crossed over in that sense. So yes, the feat that Clarissa did, salute to her for the undisputed. That's great. She crossed over. And that's how I see that. So I gave her my female champion. Jermell Charlo got my male champion of the year. Why? Because all the things I listed in the beginning. And why I said belts matter. I have Jermell Charlo as of right now as my face of boxing. He epitomizes boxing. He epitomizes the sport of boxing. I even think he does inside and outside the ring. He don't compromise. He don't bite his tongue. He speak his mind. People always say, oh, he all emotional. But then you see them being all emotional and having temper tantrums and all this other shit. But you got so much to say about Jermell Charlo expressing himself. They robbed that man of his moment after he got undisputed. Asked him about a dude, Tim Tszyu, who just had, adversity with Gachet. Right after this man, like, come on, man, give this man his moment. Give him the same respect that you give Canelo when he was doing his thing. They don't do that. Mel, even though they got boycotted for saying stuff outside the ring, even though, on his run for undisputed, both fighters, his ops, both pulled out prematurely and had setbacks because of injury and all that, he weathered the storm and he finally got back. He went back up against that test. He listened to his tutelage in Derrick James. He made the adjustments and he came out with the victory. Right? So salute to him, man. He's my face of boxing right now. My knockout of the year, I had gave to Caleb Plant. And I talked about that because everybody expected Darrell. If it was a knockout, they expected to come by way of Darrell. They thought that maybe Sweet Hands could actually outbox the dog in a 12-round match. And what happened was he got stopped with a body head. So that was my knockout. And there was more spectacular knockouts, but given the caliber of the fighters, Caleb coming back, getting his name back, making a splash, and then putting an example on. Nobody expected that. That came out of left field, right? Prospect of the year, I said Jared Anderson because of the liberties that he's expressing himself. I think he's with Jay Prince and them. I see him. He rocking with the Owl. He be sparring with Shakur. He got a good relationship with Boots. So in the aspect of where, we got a lot of people who say certain things and it's all clicked up, he actually has a relationship with some of the other generational talents coming up and out the way. And it was very close because Shushu could have very much been, the prospect of the year. He just didn't get that last fight in. Him and Jahad. They didn't get that last fight in. I had Ramla Ali, but I couldn't disagree with my man who said Scott Nicholson on the female side as far as prospects. And also got my eyes on Diego Pacheco, man. He's in my league of shadows. I'm working on something now. When I start rolling those out, it's gonna be real nice, man. I'm being real creative in that. I have diverse, products. I got boxes to watch. I got According to My Old Head. I got Boxing Minds. I be over there on the championship rounds. I got my responsible journalism pieces where I go through and read the articles, and give my little opinions and my takes. And then I do this regular content. If you win a title, you win. I give you your credit. If you face adversity, I speak on it. I don't stop rocking with my boxers just because they lose. I speak to what they need to do to get better. I speak to their strengths and their weaknesses. That's just me, though. Everybody can't say that, man. I'm going to rock with you. I'm going to get my fair share of criticism. I'm going to rock with you, and at the end of the day, man, I respect all the boxers who get hit in the head. What else did I have? Oh, the most underrated fighter this year. In the male champion, that was like I said, it was a close win for Jermell Charlo, only because I know what he was in, but Inoue was right there behind him. And if Earl would have got that fight with Bud, and the outcome would have been what I thought it was, he would be my face of boxing. He has not been able to do that. Be patient, Earl. Stay strong. Quiet the noise. Don't listen to all these news clippings and all this other stuff that's going on, man. I don't know where this energy coming from. You got 3 of them things. Stay poised and focus on that one, and don't let nobody deter you from it. Do what you got to do. Bivol, most underrated. And again, spoke about it earlier this week. He was able to beat Canelo, which I believe was a cherry pick gone wrong. And then he also beat Zurdo, who many people were saying, oh man, Canelo don't want to fight Benavidez or Zurdo. Now he got Morrell. Then he got Charlo, Andre, maybe a Plant rematch. It's like, man, that Canelo in a bad place, man. But Bivol, man, he's like big Mr. Fundamentals. Let's just say Earl, he's like medium fundamentals. Bivol is like big Mr. Fundamentals. You have your moments. If you like boxing, I'm just not saying pure boxing, but if you like boxing and technique and having fundamentals and, using, making adjustments and, sticking to a game plan, you like Bivol. You like Spence. Sometimes people say it might not be a lot of oohs and ahs, but over time, they wear and break down, and it's just beautiful to watch as it unfolds. So technically, Bivol pretty much exposed 2 fighters. Bivol exposed 2 fighters this year, and he's focused on getting the undisputed. So he got to see Better Biv. Yard got to see Better Biv before that, and I think Yard is up for it. He's coming back. So Bivol was my most underrated. And the round, I guess a fight. My fight of the year was Lubin and Fundora. Lubin and Fundora. That was a fight. Lubin is a warrior, a soldier. You know, salute to Lubin, man. Salute to Lubin and the spirit behind Lubin. But Lubin Fundora, you know, was my fight of the year because it showed Fundora got a beard and he's cerebral. He took a knee. He said, hey, hold on, let me get myself together before I take any more punishment. He got back up, did his uppercut thing, and Coach Cunningham said, hey, man, you know, nah, you know, and it was just because of the way Lubin was looking, man. So it was more for his safety and the fact that he can box and he don't sustain anything that would keep him out of the ring, because at that point, the physical damage, now he still could have had a puncher's chance going on, but Kevin Cunningham did what I say that these coaches need to do when they have, you know, your best interest in mind. They want to see you win, but they care about you. They love you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was my fight of the year. And the round or the situation with the De Los Santos and Villanueva, that was the shocker to me. That was the shocker to me because Villanueva was actually just calling out Pitbull and just like the hype around David Benavidez and all that, because he's part of the same camp. I don't know why Diego Pacheco don't get that same hype. I don't understand, man. He might be the best one, but he don't get that same hype. I just don't understand it. But Villanueva was calling out Isaac Pitbull Cruz and saying he wanted to do this, and everybody was saying this and putting his name up there with Tank like they do everything else. Everybody else, they always do that, right? And this dude, De Los Santos, he came in there and upset the apple cart. And we ain't seen De Los Santos back yet. You know, I was thinking, man, maybe Frank Martin, maybe, you know what I'm saying? I would like to see that because sometimes, man, for the shorter guys, it might be easier for you to fight taller guys. And Coach Kenny always say, height don't fight, right? But I think, man, just like Cruz and Tank, one of the things with Cruz and Tank is that Cruz is short. Tank used to fighting them taller guys. So, yeah, even though he was shorter, sometimes having that, it presented its challenges because you used to doing and throwing a certain way, you know, and then you had the hand thing. But you see where I'm going. When you closer to size, closer in height, sometimes it'd be more interesting, you know. So I would like to see that. But I gave that De Los Santos and Villanueva, if you wanted to say a round of the year, it was somewhere in there. I guess the round when De Los Santos stopped Villanueva. And he faced adversity. I hope that he's training. I heard Senior say that, you know, before that, there was some things going on in training camp. May not have been as much focus. I still like Ryu. He just faced adversity. He can get back in the saddle, you know, let that be a lesson. And now you already, you know what I'm saying, that you ain't a virgin no more. You are somebody already done popped your O. So, shoot, get busy. Get hot. You know what I'm saying? Make a name. Now use that. And you still going to be a tough out if you just clean up some technique, focus, and just, you know, learn. Learn from Diego, learn from Jose, learn from Senior, learn from David, you know, and bounce back. But I just wanted to see, man, I thought maybe, man, somebody might come in here, man, and, you know, just some of the conversations, man. Look, as a content creator, we should be able to have opinions, right? Because I dealt with a lot of people saying, oh, man, who are you to talk? I don't do this. I don't talk about other content creators. I don't. Yes, you do. Only for them to later on do it, but they do it like this. They like, oh, so welcome back. You know, thank you for coming to the channel. So they sit down and because I could do that. I could take this hat off. I could put on a shirt and a tie. I could have a coffee and I could talk all proper and I could, you know, be all chipper and, hey, how you doing? And, you know, use all these big words and avoid profanity. I could do all of that. I could. That's just not me, though. Everybody do it, man. It's your peers. It's okay to judge and analyze your peers, just like it's okay to salute your peers. It's okay to say, hey, man, I checked out this guy, Moy Buran, man. He got a good channel, man. He talk about boxing in the vein that I actually like. Now he's actually being woke. It's okay to be like, hey, go check him out with nothing to gain. That's okay. It's also okay to be like, nah, man, Purple Vein's tripping, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't sell us bullshit. We already know the prices, homie. That's okay. If you're not being malicious and you don't just set out to just target and hate and just, you know what I'm saying? But no, it's okay to have a fair criticism. And shouldn't nobody be able to say, oh, now we do need to have some kind of code on this whole, because these goalposts. I'm gonna tell you how to get somebody, and this one I'm gonna leave you with. I'm gonna tell you how to stop somebody from moving the goalpost. I'm gonna tell you. I got this new KY jelly, man. It's Bodywork KY jelly, man. You get you some of that, they can't pick up them goalposts and move them. They be too slippery. So check that out. Look for that. That's coming out. Remember, I got the knee pads, I got the tonsil jewelry, I got the bibs, and what else? The throat coat. I got the throat coat, so you can go that extra mile for your favorite fighter. Stop that bullshit about having to put on the gloves. Because some people done fought more times than some people done fought outside in the streets more than they actually fought inside than some of these fighters fought in the ring. So what about these fighters who never fought outside the ring, but then, just professional? Like, so we can't do that, man. So you can't, because you're not a chef, you can't judge the meal. Stop that, man. That's a goalpost. That's when they need to be, that's a checkmate right there. That's when you got somebody in their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's okay to talk about how somebody looks at the weigh-in. Okay? That's the standard. We got to get a standard down for what's considered a duck and what's not. Because right now in the bigger bag, that's looking like the best duck. AKA the price yourself out. I'm gonna give me a price yourself out tool. I'm about to start hitting people with the price yourself out tool, because this price yourself out, it's different energy when one person got 3 belts and the other one got 1, and the one with 3 is initiating or going towards the direction of wanting to fight. We as a boxing community have to establish that is a duck when the person don't accept it. Thanks for my new subscribers, man. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for just talking boxing, watching the content. A like, a share, a view, if you want to do anything, reach out. You see how I get down. We can have good boxing, colorful dialogue. We can laugh, we can joke, we can agree to disagree. We can even pick a topic that we don't agree on to show people how you're supposed to talk about these topics. Because the way I see it is, man, a lot of people out here on YouTube, they more likely to fight or have some smoke out here for each other before the fighters fight. And it's an ongoing joke, but you gotta think about it like this. Can we at least let the fighters fight before we smoke each other out here? Because there'd be some crazy shit being said online, man. It really do, man. We gotta stop that shit. We can't be changing up the energy, man, because it looks real bad when somebody can look up what you said 3 fights ago or a whole show ago or in your last episode, and in this episode you're saying something totally different. And I always say the best way to see where somebody stand, have a conversation about Devin and Bud simultaneously, and then we'll see where they move them goalposts. You believe what you wouldn't believe what you'll actually see when you do that. It's a way to get somebody's true GPS. It's a location tracker. You can see exactly where they at. I believe that it's boxing minds over boxing mouths. Thanks again for everybody who came in. You know what I'm saying? Holler at your boy, man. And any recommendations? Are there any boxers that should actually be in my boxers to watch collection? Because I got one for the monster. I'm making one for the professor. I got one for the juggernaut. But then I'm also getting ready to roll out my League of Shadows. I'm about to start rolling them videos out about the guys that they're not big names and all that right now, but they're going to be around, and you need to get to know these guys. But I'm being real creative in how I roll that out. I'm just doing things in the back end. So, that's it, man. Just wanted to keep you updated, man. I appreciate y'all here at Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.